Today we will be learning how to solve two-step equations. We will use a visual aid to solve two-step equations. Following that, I will practice solving two-step equations. You will be working on solving two-step equations using a visual if needed. If you understand how to do the process, feel free to do this on paper and pencil and enter your answers. So the first step that we have is we have an equation of 8 plus 8 plus 6x equals 32. So in this situation, the first thing we must do is see how this diagram is going to help us. This particular one has white boxes. These are going to help us focus where we need to do the work. This will help guide us so that we know we are not accidentally starting in an incorrect place. The next slide is going to show you where to work. So when you actually start working on your individual work, boys and girls, the arrows are going to show you where to start, where to work, where to put your answers. So we're going to actually go through this one together. The top part tells you that you're going to do step 1. We are doing the inverse operation of the constant. The constant is the number that does not have the variable with it. So the opposite of this is going to be -8. On your work, you will actually be typing it in. So the opposite of +8 is -8. To keep this balanced like a teeter-totter, we must do this on both sides. So I'm going to put -8 on this side as well. Once we have entered what we need to do on both sides, we then have to actually move everything down. So we had already put -8 in this box here. That means we have 0. That's why all of these boxes are gray. We no longer have an 8. On the left-hand side, all you have left is 6x. We have the equal sign, and then we need to actually solve out what 32 minus 8 is. That is the direction in your box. When you do 32 minus 8, you get the value of 24. Now that we've done the subtracting of 8 on both sides, we now have a new setup of 6x equals 24. This brings us back to a one-step equation. These are the items that we worked on in previous settings. Step 2. Do the inverse operation of the coefficient. The coefficient is the number that is attached to our variable. In this case, we have the 6x, so x is our variable. On the previous screen, we already had 6x written here. So the opposite of this shows multiply. The opposite of multiply is to divide. I'm going to set it up as a fraction situation. On the right-hand side, right here, we had gotten the value of 24. So we are going to once again put divide by 6. So all we're doing is setting up on this step. Now that we've set up our problem, we are saying that we have 6x divided by 6 and 24 divided by 6. We need to solve those out. 6 divided by 6 gives us the value of 1. That is x. 1x does not have to have a number in front of it because it is just that 1x. Then we still have our equal sign because our equation has not unbalanced. And then we do 24 divided by 6, which is 4. So our final answer is 4. When we look at the equation altogether on the right-hand side here, 8 plus 6x equals 32. X has the value of 4, meaning if we go back in and we replace that x that is on our screen with 4, we would do 8 plus 6 times 4 equals 32. We will get the value equivalent on both sides. Now, for some of you, you won't need to have a visual. You will be able to do this with just algebra, which is the visual component of this, or the solving out of this. So to do that, for those of you who are ready for it, I like to draw a line so I separate my equal sign so I don't cross things over. The first thing we need to do is anything that is not attached to the x. Remember, here is our variable. We don't touch this yet. We want that by itself. So I'm going to start with the 8. We do minus 8 because the 8 up there is a positive. In order to keep it balanced, we must do it on both sides. The next step is going to be to balance that out by subtracting 8 minus 8 is 0, so now we have 6x. 32 minus 8 is 24, so now I have 6x equals 24. The x is now attached to the 6. It is showing me to multiply. The opposite or inverse of multiply is to divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. That leaves me an x. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So once again, we still have the value of x equals 4 for this equation. You will now go through and fill this table in to help you practice how to solve these equations. After you solve the equation, just like the one we modeled, there is an example problem for you to solve and check your work. You then have 3 equations for you to solve on your own. On those equations, you may use the visual given to you or do the work on a piece of paper and just enter your final answer for x at the bottom of the screen where it says answer.